Hey, what's going on, Vikings fans? It is Skol side, back again. Another Minnesota Vikings video. As you see by the title of the video, positive video, man. Past two videos on my channel have been fairly negative, and honestly, all the news around Vikings social media has been negative. And for right reason. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying the Vikings deserve all this because they did start 0-3 and they have not shown up in 2 games. However, this season does have some positives, and that's really what I want to address in this video. Get some momentum going. It's just on over the past 3 games. I'm not looking at the future. I'm just going on in the past. What are some positives that us Minnesota Vikings fans can take out of this season and look towards next season and just building on across the entire season? Anyways, guys, we're getting positive today. Positive video, only positive vibes on this channel in this video. Leave a comment down below. We need some positivity because I need to start drinking some purple Kool-Aid, man. Anyways, let's get right into it. So we got 5. First one is Justin Jefferson. I already made a whole video on him, but he is definitely a highlight of the Vikings season. Yes, he only really dominated that one game, but he dominated. I mean, he put up numbers that receivers dream of putting up in the NFL, and I'm just happy that Jefferson, it seems like he has that it factor. You know, in the NFL, a lot of the guys who win, they have that it factor, they have that swagger, but it's contained. And Jefferson, he has that swagger to him. You saw him doing his little gritty dance. You saw him doing like the whole showboating, his whole swagger, talking smack, like getting in dudes' faces. I love that. I live for that. Like, that's why I watch football. It's just those after the play moments. And when you do beat your man, you let him know about it. And that's what Jefferson embodies. And I'm really excited to see him develop and just see him play throughout this year, because I think he could put up numbers this year. I think he could end up top 10 in receiving yards this year if he wants to, and if the Vikings feed him the ball. He has that talent. And anyways, I just think Jefferson, he's such a positive this year. You know, everybody was a little skeptical taking him at 22, but he just looks different than dudes out there. He looks like he's going to be an all-pro. He looks like he's going to be a Pro Bowler for many years to come. He is going to be a face of the NFC North and of the Vikings for many years. He will hold down that receiver spot no matter what. He has a ton of raw talent. He looks fast. He can go up and get a ball. He has that big play potential, and he can also play in between the numbers, which is great. Finally, something Vikings need in like 2nd and 8 over the middle. He's great. He can turn, get upfield fast. Anyways, I already made a whole video. Justin Jefferson, biggest positive so far. All right, and the second positive is, this is going to come to a shock for a lot of you, but Reiff. Reiff, I mean, he did restructure his deal, which was another positive for him, but he's been honestly playing really good. And I don't know what the future is with Reiff, but I would not be opposed to keeping Reiff at left tackle. And yeah, you know, this is also why I'm very mad they're not playing Ezra Cleveland at guard right now, because I actually feel like this offensive line could be decent if we just put Cleveland at guard, and if he plays good, because then we really have 4 out of the 5 positions kind of locked up. And then, like, what's really the excuse for the offensive line? Like, you can't have 5 perfect offensive linemen. Anyways, I do think Reiff is having a hell of a year. And if you look at his PFF rankings, all the numbers are showing he's really good. And honestly, the whole Vikings offensive line, besides the guards, have been solid. Bradbury's had his moments, but the tackles have been really good. And it just sucks because Kirk he has 2 good tackles, and the interior line is just awful. But I don't know. I think Reiff, great year. I got nothing to complain about with him. He's a positive where I'm looking forward to see him develop over the year. Still fairly young offensive lineman, and I could see him really holding down the left tackle spot for the next couple of years. And honestly, I wouldn't be that opposed to it because he's had a really solid year. We'll see, though. Only first 3 weeks. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. Anyways, let's get into the next one. All right, and the third positive is Yannick Ngakoue. I think that was a huge trade for us, and I think it was big because, I mean, he's got 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and, you know, the trade's worth it. I mean, we only give up a 2nd rounder. We have an elite pass rusher. I think he's legit, and I think if when Daniil comes back later on this year or next year, I cannot wait to see them play next to each other. Adding Michael Pierce at D-line. I mean, I know how bad the D-line's been this year. However, I mean, we're pretty much getting 3 Pro Bowlers on our D-line back next year. So I'm not really worried about it. Adding Andre Patterson, I mean, listen, just Unique Ngakoue and this whole future of the defensive line is a huge positive. He's been great. I mean, I really got nothing to complain about with him. The trade was worth it. Unique Ngakoue, hell of a player this year. All right, I'm going to throw out a shout-out. This is going to be combined. I'm throwing out Harrison Smith and Eric Kendricks. Just being leaders. I know it's been really tough for them, and they're playing with a bunch of guys who they haven't played with before, but, I mean, they're still performing. I know Eric Kendricks was not great last week against Tennessee, but, I mean, he wasn't bad, and he's just solid. I mean, he's Eric Kendricks. He's not going to get too high. He's not going to get too low. He's going to make big plays, and anyways, I just think he's been so solid this year. Harrison Smith had a hell of a game against the Titans. He had that interception. I think he's playing really well. I mean, if you just watch him, I mean, he's really had to carry Anthony Harris for the first 2 games. I know Anthony Harris picked it up against Tennessee, but Harrison Smith has really been holding down that secondary and been really the only bright spot of the secondary early. Anyways, Harrison Smith, Eric Kendricks, kind of the veterans of the team, really been still showing up this year and doing what they do well. I'm going to throw a 5th one in here, and it might catch a couple of you guys by surprise, but I think it's Gary Kubiak. And I'm really happy he's our offensive corner. I think that's a huge positive we need to look at. Yeah, I know week 2 was really rough and really shaky, but, you know, he hasn't called plays in a while. And I think it's just totally different with a different type of year. I think he's still getting the hang of it. He's still getting in the swing of things. We saw last week. I mean, the play calls he had were pretty solid. And a lot of times when the plays weren't converted last week, it was really on the players. And it was just on the offensive line or Cousins or a snap over the head. I mean, everything went wrong last week. I think Gary Kubiak's a huge positive for this Vikings team. And I was a little skeptical of bringing him in because he was really old and he hasn't called plays in a while. I guess we're kind of seeing that right now as he's still having that learning curve. However, I think Gary Kubiak's been fantastic. And I think Gary Kubiak will remain our offensive coordinator years to come. And anyways, I think he's going to get the most out of these guys because I think these guys that like these young players they respect and they want to learn from them. And for right reason. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach. And I think Gary Kubiak, he's going to get in the swing of things. And I think we're going to be all right offensively for us a year. It's just really if this defense can get going. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I just need a more positive video on the channel because I am trying to get back in. I think recently I've been really negative, but for right reason. And, you know, if the Vikings can get a win this weekend and then maybe win to Seattle, you know, we'll see where this team can go. However, still a lot of negatives on the year. Anyways, this was just about positive video. There are some positives. The whole season's not thrown away. The whole season's not a whole negative. Here's some positives for you guys. Leave a like on the video, sub to the channel, comment down below, respond to all you guys. Thank you so much for the support. 600 subs coming soon. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes, baby.